Oh, there we go. Sound back on.
Yeah. What's going
Salute,
on?
salute.
Welcome
What's
to the
going
Devo
on?
show. We got our guy Tyler Lydon on. Went to the Final
Yes,
Four
sir.
as a freshman, first round pick after a sophomore year, and I don't want to forget TBT champion, my brother.
Yes,
What's
sir.
what's going on, T? How you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you guys doing? Appreciate y'all having me.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, no doubt,
absolutely,
man.
man.
Appreciate you.
Yo, T, just kind of update us with what's been going on, what you've been doing. I know you got the LMC basketball training going on. You've been busy with that. Just kind of let us know how that's been going, and what things have been going on with that.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously what I do now full time. It's a great way for me to obviously stay around the game. Still, it was tough for me to transition out of playing, so I found that as kind of a cool little outlet to keep involved with the game, and then it really just kind of blew up. My business partner Justin, Kris, Joe, you don't, but. He's been great with it. So it's just he and I do it together. We run our camps, clinics, programs, all that good stuff. And it's crazy the amount of kids in the community now that are involved with it. But then the
Yeah.
cooler side for me is hearing from all like the local high school coaches, and they can say, wow, like you can really tell who trains with, you guys and that stuff. So that for me is the cool part. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Just run around trying to keep these kids involved with the game, teach them a thing or two, and just stay at it.
I know you got to bust their ass a couple times. I know sometimes kids get to talking. So
Yes.
I know how
That's
that
the
get.
toughest part. That's the toughest part is you get these college kids that think they can hoop with you, and it's like, hold up a second, don't get it twisted now.
Yeah. Yo, don't get it twisted. Do not get it twisted, man.
It's
That's
funny.
what's
A
up.
lot of these kids too, like I'm sure you guys see it, but a lot of them, I don't think they realize like what it takes to play at a high level and like how good you
Yeah, for
actually
sure.
have to be. It's like
No,
crazy.
I see it every day. Tyler, I coach a prep school, and I see it every day. It's like they can say it's easy to say it. It's easy. You can speak words, right? You can say anything you want,
Yeah.
but to actually know, really what it takes to become that is a whole different story. And they
For
have
sure.
no idea what it takes, the commitment that it takes for one, right? The commitment every
Yep.
day to wake up and be consistent in your grind and consistent with what you want to do in the classroom. Like they have no idea. You know what I mean? They don't even know what it takes, like how in shape you have to be an
Oh,
elite.
Man.
Like just being in shape. You're not in shape right now, bro. I'm telling you, you're not in shape to go play 36 minutes against Duke, Carolina, Pittsburgh, whoever.
yeah.
You're not in shape. You know what I mean? So just even the little things they don't understand. But yeah, no, I feel you 100%.
Yeah, bro,
Yo,
it's
T,
crazy.
what's the biggest thing when you're training kids that you try to preach to them? Because I mean, we all know on Instagram it's so many goofy ass shit going on, just with juggling shit, jumping over
Yeah.
shit, whatever it is. What's the biggest thing you try to preach? Because really, I mean, if you think about it, regardless if you're teaching the right way or wrong way, like you're competing with those, Instagram and,
Yeah.
and all that followers, 100, whatever it is. So, I mean, what's the biggest thing you really try to get across to these players, like first time, they work out with you?
Yeah, I try to preach like game action stuff because all these kids that come to me for the first time do exactly what you said. They're the kids that want to get better, right? Their parents are paying to come to me, so they obviously are the kids that want to get better. But they're also the kids that scroll on Instagram and see some of these silly ass trainers out there doing stuff like you said that's just not realistic. So for
At
me,
all,
like
bro.
all my workouts are game action stuff. It's stuff you're going to use in a game. So I preach a lot of that stuff. But for me, it's also the kids need to understand like the game does not cheat itself. I think a lot of these
Yeah.
kids are always pointing fingers and saying, oh, this is why I'm not on that team. This is why I'm not playing AU with them. And it's always pointing a finger, and it's not, they never like recognize, all right, I just got to put in the work, kind of like we just talked about. So I try to
Yeah.
preach that to everybody, all my college kids, all the way down to, my first graders that I have. It's just, hey, work hard, have fun, but whatever you put into this game, you're going to get out of it.
1,000%.
1,000%.
1,000%.
It's tough. Like
Let's bring it back.
yeah, they're so
Go ahead.
young.
Go
Some
ahead.
kids that they just can't understand it. Like we said, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's hard for them too. You know what I mean? And one thing, just to piggyback off what you said, is I want to be sure that 5 years, 10 years down the line when these kids come back, and they will never be able to say that I lied to them. Like, I'm trying to prepare them for everything that they may encounter, and it's hard for them to.
Have to
Like,
be
they might
honest.
look at you as they look at you, they look at us as old heads. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, that's just the reality, right? So just think about yourself as a youngin, and you hear somebody talking, and you like, well, I don't know, he might not know what he's talking about. So my biggest thing is just 5 years down the line, I want you to be able to come back to me and say, Coach, I appreciate you. You didn't lie to me. Everything that you told me was exactly how it happened. And as long as you do that, bro, and keep it real with them all the time, you can hang your hat on that and be, and know that you did them justice for real.
That's what man, look, I found out if you're brutally honest, like, what it takes, and even when you do that, like, you could do all the right things and bust your ass and practice every day and still might not make it. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. But you're going to give yourself an opportunity, the opportunity that you wouldn't have had if you, didn't bust your ass. And then along the way, more so these kids are gonna be great at something else, but you gave them the tools and the habits and the skill set to be able to do those things, those other things, like run a company, or be a part of a company, be a part of a team. You know what I mean? Like, it's because most of these kids, they're not gonna play college or pro. You know what I'm saying? You'll get the ones who play the mid-level, high-level, community college, and then a few who go on to play, beyond college. But in reality, I mean, you setting these kids up like for in other areas of their life. You know what I mean? To have the skill set to be able to go in other areas. That's what I see. You know what I mean? Chris, Joe, you could in T, when we did the camps, I mean, these kids, the first off, they're coming because, man, their parents loved us. We played at SU like most of the time, right? And they're fans, but we know our shit. It's from experience. Like, we've been at the top, at the highest level. Both of you guys played in the NBA. We played overseas, and so we've been. What we're teaching is through experience, unlike all these other people sometimes. But yeah, I believe that these kids are going to be successful in other areas in their life because of the habits that we're teaching them from the game of basketball. You know what I mean? And I think that's the biggest thing right there.
I totally agree.
No question.
100%.
No doubt. Joe, go ahead. Get back to your question. I know we want to kind of hop into your SU career.
Oh yeah, we want to hop into it. Yeah. So right before we, just talk to me about your recruitment process and how it became that, Syracuse was the school you chose to go to.
Yeah, for me, my recruitment was like kind of low key when I was at my public school around here. It just was like too small of a school. I didn't play the right competition. Here I am pointing fingers now, right? And I didn't always, like, these college coaches from these bigger teams would come watch us play, and I thought I had everything that it took, but I don't know that it necessarily was because of the competition. I mean, we would blow teams out by 80 some games, so it's like a college coach can't even really come watch that. So I was like a low major, mid-major kind of guy. Then I go to prep school, reclass, and the second I reclassed, it was like that day, it was like 40, 50 phone calls from all high major schools. So it kind of blew up going into my first fall at New Hampton Prep. And I just got super tired of hearing the same thing over and over and over again. So for me, it was always about like what schools stood out that were unique, the coaching staff, like who did I really relate to? So I narrowed down to my top 5. Syracuse was obviously in my top 5. And then from that point, I kind of honestly just woke up one day, and Hop at the time was the one like mainly recruiting me. And I woke up one day and got off the phone with him, and I was like, man, I just fucking love this dude. Like, I would really
for sure.
I would do, and anybody that's obviously played for Hop is like that. So that was like everything I needed right there. I wasn't, as much as I was worried about academics, it's like I'm trying to get to the NBA and like what's the best route. And they obviously, like, Cuse always does a great job developing guys. So I looked at my position, and it's like year after year after year, there's somebody going to the league. So that played a big role. But honestly, it was just more about the relationship with Hop and the coaching staff for me. And then it obviously helps too that 2.5 hours away, and my parents and brothers and stuff could come to the game. So that was super cool for me.
Big time. Yeah, that's big time. That's big time.
T, so talk about coming in, to Cuse. your freshman year, and having really instant success, obviously going on that Final Four run, playing with some high-level guys, Malachi, Benajay, Trevor Cooney. Just talk about coming in, your first experience, in the Dome, and then, going on that run.
Like that whole year was almost like you're on cloud nine. As a kid, your dream is to play at the highest level possible. Obviously, upstate New York. Sure, I grew up watching some Syracuse games, but wasn't like a huge fan. I just was a basketball fan. So when I got there, it's like, holy shit, like I'm playing in the Carrier Dome. There's 35,000 people. Like, what is going on right now? So I'm on just like cloud nine the whole year. Obviously, you're trying to work and trying to grind and get better. And it was like that whole run was crazy. It just like summed up the entire year for us. We kind of had a roller coaster where, we were a fringe team or a bubble team. We didn't know if we were going to get in because of our record. Some of our losses were bad, but we beat some really good teams. So, then just squeaking into the tournament, you just feel like, hey, a lot of people don't even think we should be here. We're here. We might as well have fun and go try to make a little run at this thing. And obviously it turned into a Final Four run, which is dope. So
super dope. What was that? What was just I guess go more in depth about the Final Four run. Just the feeling around the team at that time. You're winning game after game, and you keep advancing. Sweet 16, first round, second round, Elite Eight. Now you're in the Final Four. What's the thought process? Is it like, fuck it, we might as well just go win it? We're here now. Yeah. We might as well just go all the way. You know what I mean? So what was the thought process like?
Yeah, I mean, that was exactly what it was. Like I said, when you're barely supposed to be in the tournament, or 99% of the public out here thinks that you don't belong, and you win that first game, now it's like, all right, let's go win another one. And we got lucky there because we were supposed to play Michigan State, who was like a 2-seed or 1-seed that year. I can't quite remember.
Yes.
They ended up getting upset by Middle Tennessee. So we saw that, and we were like, okay, here's another one. Like, we kind of got a little lucky. We can't take it for granted here and get like too excited. Like, you got to go out and play the game, obviously, but you feel a lot better playing Middle Tennessee than you do Michigan State. So, we kind of felt more comfortable. But honestly, to me, like, the tournament comes around, it's all about who's clicking at the right time. And for us, like, that whole run, we just were clicking, whether it was defense, off the court, guys were just like, the whole demeanor of everybody was different. You were there everyone pushed stuff aside. It wasn't about scoring. It wasn't about none of that. It was about getting a win.
Yeah. What about that Virginia game, man? You guys are down, what was it, 20 at half? That was the Elite Eight, and I think it was in Chicago, right? At the United Center?
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about that, because you guys, first, like you said, you're not supposed to get in the tournament even. All right, you're just on the fringe. And then you get in. Now you're getting all the way to the Elite Eight, and then you're down 20 at half versus Virginia was the number 1 seed, I think, that year as well. Talk about that, going into half, what was said by coach, and then coming out, putting the press on, and coming back getting the win.
Yeah, that's what's like kind of crazy about it, is I'm expecting, all right, we're down 20 to a team that, like, yeah, Virginia is really fucking good, but we should be in that game, not down 20. So. Right. What I was so surprised about, though, was going into halftime, coach gave like a laid back speech. Usually he's like, he's like on it, he's getting in somebody's face, he's getting guys fired up. But he just gave like a very relaxed, laid back speech. Was like, look, we, to sum it up, it's like, we made it this far. Who cares about the score? Go out and finish this season. If this is our last game, it's our last game, but go out with everything you got. And it pretty much was just like that. And it was like, guys are thinking, like I said, he's going to light you up in the locker room, but it's the opposite. And it kind of made you play a little bit more carefree, because it's like, again, we're not even supposed to be there. What do we got to lose? We might as well go out and get everything we got. So that's what we did. And obviously, we kind of were chipping away through that second half there. And the press, once we put that on, they obviously made a couple turnovers, come back, momentum's in our favor, and, the rest is history. But I think him having that approach was like one of the best coaching experiences I've ever seen. And like, I'm not going to say a coaching adjustment, but for him to be able to read the room in that situation and deliver it the way he did, I think that set the tone for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dope. Before we go into obviously, your sophomore year, he mentioned something. He said that the zone was working. So I want to just touch on that. Coming in, obviously high school, you play mostly man to man. What was your experience like with the zone? Just having to play 99.9% of zone during basketball games.
It was different because, like you said, you go and you play man basically your whole high school career. You're starting to learn like kind of high level terminologies and different stuff, and then it's like you kind of brush that aside, and now you're learning a 2-3 zone, and like Pee-wee, you know what I'm saying? So it was different. Yeah. But you don't realize like how active you are, how much you got to move, how engaged you have to be. And like there is some principles man to man that do carry over a little bit. So the transition wasn't that hard. It was more about like the level and the intensity and the movement that's required that was like took a little bit of time for me to adjust to. And, to that point too, I didn't think I was going to go in there and have to play the middle of the zone at 205 pounds.
Yeah, right.
I'm thinking I'm going to be the wings and bumping and getting back and all that. But here I am banging around with Sabonis in like the, Elite Eight game or whatever it was.
Had the huge block.
Yeah. So that whole experience was just crazy, just trying to figure that out, and I think I just tried to use, my size, being that I was a little bit leaner and smaller than guys. I tried to just use my speed to get around them.
Yeah.
But it took a lot, you're getting beat up the whole game by guys that got 40, 50 pounds. So it's tough, but the adjustment overall wasn't bad.
That was one of the more effective lineups. With you in the middle, you know what I mean? Because you're mobile. Now on the other end, it creates a whole different mismatch because you're taking their big guy outside because you can shoot the ball. Talk about those two plays that really stand out in my mind. The one where you lost your shoe, it knocked down the three. I think Virginia, right? That was Virginia, right? Yeah. And then the block against Gonzaga, which was ready to seal the deal for real.
Yeah. The block was more like just instinctual. Your coach is obviously telling everybody in the timeout there, like, do not foul. Whatever you do not foul. So the second I leave my feet, I'm thinking, oh shit, I'm probably going to foul him. But he kind of took off a little farther away, and I was able to time it up a little bit better than I was originally anticipating. I was hoping to more so be there just for a contest. Like when I watch back and see the tape, it's like I'm not really exploding into that block to try to go punch it. I'm like just more so there to try to get a light contest. And I got a little bit lucky. He floated too far, and I'm able to tip the ball and seal the deal with that. And then with the Sweet 16 game, with the Elite Eight game where I lose my shoe, it's kind of the same thing. I just knew when I caught it that the shot clock was down. I think there was like 4 or 5 seconds, and I'm like, shit, I got one shoe on, obviously, but the pump fake made the dude fly by, and now I got an open three. So it's like, am I going to shoot an open three, or am I going to kick it out to somebody else and have a contested look? It's like, I might as well shoot this thing. So
did you feel like one foot was higher than the other at the time? It felt like...
Well, like the crazy part is I kind of did like this little, I'm going to call it like a twitch step back. Like I just stepped off of that foot that didn't have a shoe really lightly. So I like slid a little bit, and I'm like, oh shit, this is not good. I'm going to be off balance and airball this thing. But I found the balance and made it. So it worked out.
Yeah, it worked out.
That's what's up. That's great, man. That's great. So talk to going into your sophomore year now. We have our, the end of season, exit meetings and things of that nature. Obviously, I'm sure you guys are all fired up. You just made a Final Four run. What was your thought process going into your sophomore year, and the conversation just with the coaching staff as far as what you would have to do?
Yeah, it was more so just building on all the stuff that I was able to progress on that first year, developing like my outside shot, being able to pick pop. But the more important thing for me was, they were pretty straight up and honest and said like, look, you're going to be the guy this year, for your sophomore season. So it was more so like, how do I prepare to be the guy? Like the leadership role that I'm taking a backseat my freshman year to Cooney and Benajay and other older guys, and you're watching them and how they lead. So for me, it was more so transitioning to be a leader at like a really high level. And the tough part is I put a lot of pressure on myself like a lot of guys do. I'm a perfectionist. So that was like the tough part, is finding that balance of trying to do all the right things while also being okay, like not doing the right thing every single time. But I just came into that summer and that off season just like super locked in. I think I came home, like I spent both summer sessions up there. I came home maybe like 5 times for like 2 days at a time, maybe like on the weekends. But the rest of the time I was just super locked in. And because I knew that, like, you know, you just come off a Final Four, you want to get back, you want to win a championship. You had a taste of what that was like, you know, plus I needed to be ready to be the guy. So I was just super locked in.
And for those who may not know, obviously everybody in the chat is probably from Syracuse, but if any case this is going to go out on Twitter, Syracuse in the summertime is not a great place to be.
Awful.
All right. Let's just, you know, it's literally, if you're locked in, you're to the mellow, back to the apartment, your highlight of your day is going to work out. It ain't much going on during the summertime. So just to put that in perspective for people,
not on the university, not on the university, but you get around like Syracuse is actually, if you get outside, it's a pretty beautiful, man. You got the lakes around. You know, now that we're older.
Oh
you know,
for sure. The lakes and things of that nature solid.
When you're on campus, you got
what the fuck am I gonna do?
Hot ass apartment. With that fan in the window blowing hot ass air. Yeah, I get it. Except when you do in UV. What is it? UV?
They got them guys up in UV.
Yeah, UV is good. You know, T, talk about having that success, right? Being able to go to the Final Four your freshman year, then sophomore year, a lot of different pieces coming in. It was kind of like you, even though like you had John Gillen, had Andrew White, those guys were freshmen coming into the program as far as like knowing the system and, you know, knowing the zone. That was their first year. So it was a little bit different. And obviously, you know, I think we lost to Miami in the ACC tournament, and eventually, you know, that didn't get us in. But you know, talk about, you know, from having success, kind of going through struggles that sophomore year. Individually, you had a great year. Team wise, wasn't as best as we wanted. You know, kind of just talk about those ups and downs in freshman to sophomore year.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough because freshman year we're unranked to start the year out. Everyone's calling it basically like a rebuild year. Then you go to the Final Four. Sophomore year we're like preseason top 15. I think some people had us at top 10. So now your expectations are super high. We're supposed to be a really good team. But I think just having all those moving parts like you talked about with the incoming freshmen themselves, then you have, you know, key players that are playing key roles that are transfers coming into a new program, with all that going on at one time. You know, there was like games that we showed it that we could gel and we could play the right way and we could do all these different things and be a super high level team and really be that top 15, top 10 team in the country. But then there's other games that it's like we didn't even know who each other were. You know, and I don't know if it's just this lack of playing with each other. You know, you can't really say, to me, you can't say that because we're all hoopers. Everybody, you know, you speak one language when you're on the floor and it's basketball. So I don't know really what to attest it to other than that we just had a bad year. I think it's really as simple as that. I didn't perform the way I was supposed to and the way I wanted to. Like I said, my expectations on myself were super high. I was going in like preseason All-American, Naismith watch list, all that stupid shit. And I let that kind of get to me too much. Not that I was worried about achieving that, because it was never about like the accolades for me, but it was more so like once our team started to lose and I'm not doing as well as I'm supposed to, it gets in your head and it's tough to get through that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, overall, it just was one of those seasons up and down. I think that if we were able to go back and redo it and have another go at it with that exact team and have a fresh start, I bet you it would be completely different. I just don't think it was the right time and place for us, though.
You had some awesome, great moments though. I mean, North Carolina at North Carolina 36 with both of the, who was it then? They had Meeks, and then I forget the other. They had like the Twin Towers there. You killed them. Did you know right after that game you were going to the league though? After that game, you were like, all right, you had it in your mind.
When ACC play happened, so like the first, I don't know, however many preseason games you play, 6 to 8, whatever that is. Once ACC play happened though, I started killing dudes in the ACC for like 8 to 10 games straight. that was when it was like, all right, this is who I'm supposed to be. I'm playing how I'm supposed to play. And then it's like, I know that these dudes can't really fuck with me. So at that point in my head, I'm like, I'm ready for that next step. It was just about taking that, obviously. And then that was the first year too that they came out with the rule that you could go test the waters and come back and all that stuff. So that kind of threw a little bit of like, oh, well, do we try that or do we just go? And I just decided if I'm going to go like full in. There's no like testing, nothing. I got to mentally be ready for it.
So was it a pretty easy decision to make towards the end of the year where you said, I'm going to go ahead? Or did you have like a little something in you that said, well, fuck, man, we didn't finish the season off how I wanted, you being the competitor that you are? Was it, do I come back for a third year and, try to not make up for my sophomore year, but do better, finish on a better note? Or was it, what, I made up my mind, I'm going to go make some money?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely was. It was a lot harder than people think it was. I think a lot of people assume, oh, you're just gone, you're walking off campus, you're out of there. But it took a lot of time sitting down talking with my family. What's the right play? What do I really do? We weighed out the options, and we just felt like at that point in time, like, when I went to go enter the draft, I was like an early second round to late first round guy. Most people were projecting me second round, and, to start out the season, people had me as a lottery pick. So I knew that I would be able to make up for that and work and get to the first round. So I wasn't worried about it. But we weighed out the options, and obviously I thought it was best to go, but it was a super, super tough, long process.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're at Syracuse. I mean, you're one of the best universities as far as basketball and sports in general. You're the man to be. I mean, it's a pretty good life. You know what I mean? In college, you know what I mean. So I think the relationships that you built, and all the people that you met, it makes it harder to be able to walk away, like you said, but. What was that like, going in there, telling the guys, the guys that you built those bonds with over those 2 years and, telling the coaches and, people like that who you really got close to?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough because, like that's your family. Like Syracuse basketball, like those guys, some of those guys are like my brothers. They're family members. You don't want to just up and pack and leave your family. And especially to piggyback off of what you guys said, like I didn't have that great of a year. I wanted to come back like in the worst way and prove it. And it was more so, honestly, is like when you look at the record books at Syracuse, it's like all the guys that stayed longer and look how successful they were as basketball players. Like I wanted my name to be in those record books. Like I want to be at the top, So for me, I was even debating like staying the 4 years just to kind of have that college career that, a lot of guys don't necessarily have anymore at this current time. But yeah, I mean, it was super tough to have to say, tell those guys that I'm leaving, but at the same time, they're all super excited for me. They obviously think I'm going to do well. Be successful. They got my back, so that made it a lot easier once I broke the news to them. And then you talk to the coaching staff. To me, that was the hardest part, is because I love the coaching staff so much that I felt like by me leaving, I was almost letting them down in a sense. Like I wouldn't be able to be there to help them out and help the program out anymore. So that was another tough moment for me, but again, they were all super supportive and all had my back, which made it a lot easier.
And you achieved your ultimate dream at the end of the day.
Doubt.
I mean, that's like winning the lottery, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's top notch. Yo, T, I know you got to get out of here, man. We appreciate you hopping on, bro. If you got anything going on, camps, clinics, whatever it is, go ahead and let people know before you hop off.
I got my camp this summer, June 23rd to the 28th. Just visit our website, lmcathletics.com, and you can find all the information there. But that's it. I appreciate you guys having me on. It means a lot to talk to you guys and chop it up for a little bit, so hopefully we can get back at it soon.
Here's the block right here. Here we go.
Yes, sir. There it is. Big time.
Yes, sir.
Big time.
We appreciate y'all.
All right, appreciate you.
Lydon falls. Richardson on the wing. Roberson down low. Somebody lost their shoe, and that was Lydon.
Bring us back. Bring us back. There you have it.
Dribbling against Malcolm Brogdon. Oh, I love it.
Trademark.
You talk about Cinderellas in a slipper. And for this team, which is like Cinderella, a 10th seed.
Okay, here we go. We back. Joe, that was
There
dope,
we
man.
go.
That was dope. Half hour of T. Lydon in your ear. That was good. That was good.
Yeah, like you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I like that sweater.
Oh, you do, Trap? Yeah, it's bro. It's like my workout sweater.
What we talking about? We talk about trapping in the zone, trapping in the 2-2-1 full court press. No other trap is being represented on that hoodie. Basketball.
Trapping in life. I'm getting it. We're out here. Jordan Capozzi. We need Jordan Capozzi. Trap life. So look, let's hop into the. Oh shit! Yeah. Hey man, no, that was a dope interview with T. Lydon, man. Just I know Hughes fans in the chat bringing up some old memories, man, some nostalgia for you guys. But let's hop into a not so good moment last night.
Takes from ED and Kris Joe.
Yeah, it was.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
let's talk about the game, bro. I mean, really, man. I tell you, man. Every time I see this team play, I feel like they're getting better in some area. You know, obviously North Carolina, a solid team. ACC is down this year. It's just that's a fact. It's not the teams aren't as good. But Syracuse was the better team, bro, for really the whole game. If you look at the stats, we out rebounded them. We shot better. We had a better percentage. We made more threes. You know, obviously, you know, free throws was a big, 23-3. We'll get to that. You know, they had more assists. They did a good job moving the ball. Big number. 17 turnovers for us, 10 for them. They had 21 points off of our turnovers, which, I mean, that was the decider. I mean, we had more paint. We had more paint points. 38-34, which is this is my thing. 38 points in the paint we had compared to their 34, yet we go to the free throw line 3 times. If we got that many points in the paint, it means we're in there. So it means bodies we're getting bumped. Something
what the
was
fuck?
going
They
on,
act
man.
like we just getting free lanes to the basket. Nah, man, that's crazy. You can't get that many points in the paint and not get to the free throw line anymore. Judah was getting to the basket. You know, Joe got in there, a couple times. Obviously, the big fellas. A couple times Jesse had to, salsa his way to a bucket because he using all the great footwork, and he's still not getting no fouls called. Little bumps, little hip checks and things like that, bro. That's tough right there. Very tough. Off air, I said that it reminded me a lot of the Elite Eight game against Ohio State, where the calls were just horrendous. The refs kind of really sold us, and it kind of felt like that again, bro. Just seeing what was going on out there. But again, turnovers, man. That was the tail right there. Turnovers.
I mean, that's what it comes down to, Joe. I mean, Joe, we talk about the refs. I mean, yeah, they were bad. I think the first charge for Judah on R.J. Davis was definitely not a charge. He was backpedaling still. He was moving, and they called a charge. The second one, obviously, is a charge. Flagrant foul on top of that. Definitely wasn't a flagrant foul. It was a basketball play. Just, it happens. When you're going Euroing like that on a fast break, your face is right there. So it's a basketball play. Judah's not putting his elbows out trying to hit my man in the face. He's going through with the ball, keeping it high, like you're taught to do. So we can talk about that, but 21 points off of 17 turnovers, bro. You're a coach at a high level prep school. If that happens, you're most likely not going to win the game, bro. And because every other facet of the game, we were better, for real. And mind you, like a lot of times, I'm looking back in my mind, we had 4 freshmen on the floor. But what it was Judah, Malik, Bell. At one point, it was Taylor.
Yeah.
And it was always 3 on the floor at least. So. I mean, these guys are getting better, obviously, and then you talk about at the end, Joe saving it under our basket. We don't get to that situation if we box out on the initial free throw, on that last free throw. You know, I don't know who was Hema or Malik Brown were right there, but Leaky Black gets right in front of
Malik
him.
Brown. Yeah.
But bro, that's the situation right there. What do we? That's you have to rebound the ball in that point, in that situation, right? I mean, if he misses it, now if they get it, they got the chance to go right up, right? So that obviously led to Joe trying to make a play, and you don't save it under your basket. We know that, but at the spur of the moment, he was trying to make a play.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I get it, but it was kind of like a flat tire type shit. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, I'm trying to make a play, but not knowing, like, probably should have let that shit go. And then now that's their
situation.
ball.
Because we're
still up one
at that point.
And now we got to get a stop. But, I mean, I like this team. I think I don't want to say that when we're losing, but we should have won that game yesterday, man. We got to do a better job of still protecting the paint. I still think that was a big emphasis that North Carolina was trying to get. Jesse's a shot blocker, but we can get into his body. You know what I mean? They had Nance. Nance had 21 and 10, and then Baycott, I think, had 18 and 8. Mm-hmm. That was a big emphasis for them, bro. Mm-hmm. Getting the ball in the middle, working that high low, and they did a good job playing through the high post.
They did a great job. They did a great job playing through the high post. And just to piggyback off of what you said, this team is getting better with every game, and you could see the adjustments. You could see that they're learning. Obviously, they're learning on the fly, but they're really picking up on things quickly and making certain adjustments in the next game. I would love to see this group together for obviously another year. You know what I'm saying? So it's a full year, and then how they evolved, all the sophomores together and shit. If we could have them for 3 years, just see how they evolved. Obviously, things could happen during the course of that time, but just to be able to see them play together, just to see how they're growing, I want to touch on Bell in a little bit, but just to see how the team is growing together, how they're playing, how they're making adjustments. It's not easy, bro, to play high level basketball. Like we were just saying before, what it takes to be a Division I athlete, bro. A lot of people don't know the work that it takes, and I think that they're finally in January. Well, even before this, like they've been playing some good basketball leading up to this game. And you could only expect them to continue to get better. I'm interested to find out like what their day-to-day is. What are they going to go in there and watch film? How engaged are the freshmen? Because they're really improving every game, bro. Every game, one of the freshmen are doing something that they weren't doing previously. They're learning quickly. They're learning on the fly. They're applying whatever it is that they're being told. They're being like, like the cliche, you got to be a sponge. And that's what they're doing right now, bro.
Let's talk about Chris Bell real quick, though, bro. Talk about Chris Bell, man.
I want to talk about Bell.
3 for 5 from 3, 4 rebounds. We talked about his rebounds.
Tough-ass shots.
Tough-ass shots. He's a shot maker.
Right? Tough-ass shots. He's a shot maker. He's a shot. And when he hits one, he hits a couple, he feels good. Yeah, his improvement is good, and watching the game, you could just see how much more his energy has changed. You know what I mean? He doesn't look like he's just out there anymore. And of course, when you make a couple baskets, it fuels you. And now you're going to play harder on defense. You're going to go grab a rebound. You're just more naturally, bro. That's just what it is. Naturally, you're more engaged, right? You make a shot. He got him a dunk in the first half. He's feeling himself. He's feeling good. And that energy carries over. It carries over to the defensive end of the floor. And, of course, it continues to carry on to the offensive end. But if you see him, he was active on the glass. He was getting involved in plays on the defensive end. When he didn't have the ball, he was sprinting the lanes to get open. And he might not get a shot.
He was running.
He was running. And it might not necessarily be for you to get a shot, but just the fact that you're sprinting to those corners and bouncing off the baseline, it opens things up for your teammate. It might open something up for Jesse. It might open up a driving lane for Judah. And I just seen his engagement in the game change, last night. And he's been playing well. He's been playing well for the past couple of games. Not necessarily always point-wise or whatever the case is, but just overall playing a better brand of basketball. And I think he, for one, like I was talking about, is understanding what it takes to become a really good basketball player at this level. You can shoot the ball. You're athletic. You're 6'7", 6'8". And he's figuring it out, bro. Tough shot maker. You know, he gets it up with quickness, and he's when he's knocking them down like that, bro, he looks amazing. You know, offensive
Got
rebound, offensive
transition.
putbacks in the first half,
Yep, had a
transition,
dunk.
hitting threes, big shots. He's relied upon to make those shots, and he's taking them with confidence. You know what I mean? And for a freshman to be able to do that, you know, he wasn't playing like a freshman last night. And that's the type of player, that's the bell that we need to see on a consistent basis. Which obviously, I knew that he could get to that point. It was just figuring the college game out. You know what I mean? Like in the beginning of the season, he wasn't getting so many shots. He's more involved now, but that's just because his energy. The ball will always find energy, bro. You run out in transition, you're gonna get you a basket. That's energy, effort. You know what I mean? You run to that corner, sprint to that corner, you come off those pin downs, the ball will find you. You got to do everything with a max amount of effort, max amount of energy, and it'll find you. And I think that he is going to continue, especially when you can get a game like this off against North Carolina. Just the prestige of that university will have you hype. Everybody wakes up for the Carolinas, the Dukes, just because historically these are the teams that are spoken about at that to have that standard. You know what I mean? Just to be real, you're not waking up for Pittsburgh like you're waking up for Duke and Carolina. You know what I mean? It's just
Back then we weren't even playing against them back then.
Oh yeah, yeah, facts. Facts, but that's just like us. You're not waking up for a DePaul like you're waking up for a UConn or a Georgetown. You feel me?
It gets you. You're gonna be
just
you're
for
gonna
him.
be a little bit more hype.
Oh yeah, no doubt. You're going to sleep early the night before. You're going to have your good old breakfast. You ain't going to eat no Eggos. You might go somewhere and get you something nice, you know, some grits, whatever you got to do. You're going to make sure you eat a good breakfast, bro. You're going to do everything right. You know what I mean? And it was beautiful to see, bro.
Oh, we lost Chris Joe. He'll be back. I know he will. He might have just got a quick. There he is. Quick phone call.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what happened.
Bro,
Yeah, but for the longest while we've been talking. Yeah, go ahead.
Chris Bell. He continues to get better. He can shoot the shit out of the ball. He adds a 1-2 dribble pull up where he can get to his spot, kind of pump fake, whatever. He expand his game a little bit if he can start getting to the hole, getting to the free throw line. He probably doesn't need to be great at it because he's a great shooter. Defensively, rebounding, that's where he has to be able to be consistent. You know what I mean? He has to be able to. Malik Brown, bro, 20 minutes, obviously only 2 points, but 7 rebounds. I mean, he was second lead rebounder in 20 minutes. Him and Benny, they split that 40 minutes, so they both had 20 and 20. Benny had 20 minutes and he only had 2 rebounds. So let's talk about Brown, man, and kind of his impact, even when he's not scoring the basketball. He seems just to be, like we talked about, have a knack for it. Defensively, he had 1 block.
Yep.
He's active in the zone. He even when he's not scoring, he's still doing good things. And the one thing that's consistent about him is, and you're going to be on the floor if you do this, especially from the forward spot, rebounding the basketball. Malik Brown, bro, he's put himself in that rotation, man.
Yeah, for sure. The last couple of games, we've seen him play some significant minutes, some meaningful minutes, and he's earned that, bro. From the start of the season to now, every time that he was called upon, he was ready, and he's been doing it consistently. You know what I'm saying? So for him, these minutes, he should be proud of it. At the end of the day, he should build off of it. He should really be proud of himself and the work that he's been putting in and just the effort that he's been putting forth to be in this position now. Because he could have got called upon and shit the bed, but instead, every time that his number was called, he answered. He gave us some positive numbers. It was always a positive outcome when he was on the floor. And again, like you said, it doesn't always have to necessarily be in the scoring column. 1 block, 7 rebounds. These are the things that we need him to do on the court for us to be successful. So he's playing his role. When they say be a superstar in your role, he's not coming into the game thinking, I'm about to score 10 off the bench. I'm trying to get ACC 6th Man of the Year. He's coming in thinking, I got to rebound the shit out the ball. I got to try to get me, 1-2 blocks, change about 3-4 shots, make sure that I'm active in that zone, making it difficult for guys to get that little high-low pass, things of that nature. So he's playing his role to a T. When they say be a superstar in your role, that's what he's being right now.
So look at this real quick, bro. We're in the chat, and this is a good. Maybe I got to go look back and look on the last free throw where we didn't box out and Joe ended up throwing it under our rim. Biggest mistake by coach. This is Squaz 23 saying having Gerard in there to rebound on Nance's free throws. Should have subbed in Benny or Quadir. No reason Joe was in there against 6'11" Baycott and 6'8" Leaky. Well, I mean, I'll have to go back and look, but to my knowledge is it was Hema and Malik Brown who were on that side that missed Joe Girard didn't even have anything to do with it. If I'm not, maybe he was on the line, but you wanted to have everybody on the line at that moment because we had to get the rebound. You know, I think it was Hema and it was Malik Brown.
He wasn't on the Joe couldn't have been. Yeah, Joe couldn't have been.
He was on the opposite side. He was on the opposite side.
Have to watch it again.
Yeah, we'll have to watch it again. But he was on the opposite side. I don't think it was Malik and it was Hema. I don't think Joe had anything to do with it. But it was really Hema. He missed that box out. I believe we could go back to it. Jordan, I don't know if you have that clip. If you could bring that last free throw clip up for us, we just want to see that on the box out because I think. Yeah, but it wasn't that. But I mean, that was a huge play right there. I mean, I guess Joe, going back to that play, that's game. If we get that rebound, shit, we're up 1. Do we fucking get it? They got to foul us because there's only 10 seconds left.
Yep.
That's game right. That's huge. How many? And that's like situational stuff. Like I know, like you being a coach, you work on that type of shit in practice. We gotta get these defensive rebound. Yeah, free throw situation, free throw rebounding in that situation because that's killer. When somebody gets an offensive rebound off a free throw in any situation, but in that time in the game, man, that was it right there. Because we get that, we're going down the other way getting fouled, and we're up 3. Now they got to come down and make a big shot. That was huge right there, man. Emphasis on boxing out. Do you think Joe was wrong going after the ball? I mean, we talked about that. It was a spur of the moment thing. I think he was just trying to make a play. But you got to know going in, like Joe said before, time, situation. You can't save the fucking ball under your hoop, especially when you're fucking up 1 with 10 seconds to go. Should have let it go.
19, should have let it go. 10 seconds, yeah.
Should have let it go. And
that's the type of shit that you learn from, bro.
Yeah, if they're talking about he's a senior. I don't give a fuck if you're 37. Sometimes you playing in sometimes that shit happens. Like you make the reads, like you practice the reads over and over. The situation is over and over. It's still not going to be 100%. Sometimes you just have you're going to make a play. He was trying to do his best, man. He was trying to do his best.
No,
it wasn't the right decision.
Hey, Joe, don't even worry about it. It wasn't the right decision. But like again, heat of the moment. We go back. He said he's a senior. We could take it and not college basketball. But, I mean, you could go college basketball and fucking why did Chris Webber call timeout knowing that he didn't have any? Sometimes in the fucking spur of the moment, your mind ain't really, bro. You're just like, fuck it. Let me just fuck. He's just called timeout. He's not even thinking. And we seen on the clip, they mentioned it in the huddle. We have no timeouts. On the fucking bench, they were saying we have no timeouts. Chris Webber caught the ball, bro, and he called timeout. You know what I mean? Or
Joe, is that because now people are going to say, well, this, the great players, good players, they're able to separate and focus in those situations when it's tense, when the crowd's on you. They're able to make those clean cut decisions where the right play will be made. Now that's what they're going to playing devil's advocate. He couldn't do it. He couldn't handle it. Joe's a senior. They're talking about mind you, Joe's been having an all ACC year.
Fucking all ACC. If you don't make all ACC, something's wrong with the committee.
Argue about that in the chat. He's been having an all ACC year, shooting the shit out of the ball. And I'm telling you, his game off the dribble, creating space off the dribble, has evolved.
Joe got a slick ass handle, bro. It's not awesome AI shit, but he got a slick ass little snatch back, and then he got a quick little. You know what I mean? I fuck with Joe when he start playing like that. And I like how he take the pick and roll, then he snake it. He come back, little
He's
jump
playing
shot
with
at the
more
elbow, little
confidence, right?
floater. He playing with some.
like,
He playing
I'm
with
the
that
man
feel.
type shit.
Yeah, nah, he is. Yup. So again, and then you think about fucking the NBA when J.R. Smith did some dumb shit, whatever it was, when Braun was looking at him like, "What are you doing?" in the NBA Finals. Like sometimes in the moment, bro, it just shit. You fucking have a brain freeze, bro, a brain fart, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
You know
bad
what I'm
time to
saying?
have it,
And
but
then next
fuck it,
thing
it
you know,
happens.
bad time. It happens, yo. It happens. It happens.
I mean, bro, and now we can talk about in the same sense that we're talking about right now, decision making. Judah Mintz, you know what I mean? People been on him. You know, that we go back to the Miami game. You know, when he, had 3 turnovers his last 3 possessions, and ultimately, I wouldn't say those 3 possessions lost the game, but yeah, that's they probably lost us the game, right? But hey, they're talking about, hey, Samir should be on the court. No disrespect to Samir. Judah Mintz is your best player. Just to be real, bro. And I'm talking about from what he does for other guys. You know what I mean? Him being able to paint, touch with 2 feet every single time opens up shots for Chris Bell. You know what I mean? Now, even when he doesn't have an open shot, the guy's scrambling out to him from the penetration from Mintz. Now he's able to get an advantage off the 1-2 dribble pull up or pump fake, whatever it is. I understand late game situation, 2 games in a row, wasn't the best, right? He has to be able to make that read. Joe, for me, when I'm going at a guy downhill, guys backpedaling, especially in transition, I know that pull up is going to be there. Like I want him to be able to
Just
trust
like
that.
RJ Davis, what's his name? Sorry to cut you off, but Davis did that a couple times in transition too. He had a tough shot in transition
Yes,
where full
pull
speed,
up.
stop, right side of the floor, boom, pull up. So you got to.
Yeah,
And Samir came in and gave him some positive minutes as well.
Really
Let's
good,
not get it
really
twisted.
good
But
minutes.
overall, when it comes time to, get down to it, you're gonna have your best 5 on the floor.
Oh, man, I'm putting the ball in his hands, bro, because he's shown that he could do it. He's capable. Go back to Notre Dame, 7 points in the last 4 minutes, ultimately winning that game. You know what I mean? So we know he's capable of making and taking those big shots in those situations. He's turned it over, made some bad decisions, the past couple games and in the end of the games. But I want him with the ball, bro. I want him with the ball.
Yep.
He can get by anybody, and I think he's just going to, like you said, he's going to learn from it. He's going to learn from this. Trust that pull up. You get downhill so good that the defender is already on his heels going back, trying to get back in front of you. You stop on that 1-2, bam, bam. You raise it right up over him. That's magic every time.
Yep.
Right there. It's simple too, because you're so explosive. He add that to his game, bro. It's over. I'm telling you, he just needs a little mid range to keep guys honest to be able to guess. He gets that. I'm telling you, I hope he stay one more year, bro. I think he will. I think he will.
And his game will go to another level because it'll be a big summer for him to get stronger in the weight room. And he finishes with the best of them. He gets in there. He's not afraid of contact. You know what I'm saying? He hits the floor, goddamn, 10 times a game or more, but he keeps going back to the basket. He's not afraid of contact, bro. Every game has and ones, tough finishes. So another year of him just being in the weight room, really getting strong. Not necessarily bigger, but just stronger. And being able to know what it takes, because as he goes, he's learning what it takes to be a guard at this level. Like it's not easy. You got to go in there. You got to make plays. Your body got to be ready to play 36 to 40 minutes on any given night. You know what I mean? So another year, obviously, he could definitely benefit from that. The league ain't going nowhere. That's somewhere where he belongs. He's gonna get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's no doubt in my mind that he'll end up where he needs to end up at. And shit, if he, if he so decides that he wants to take that jump or go test the waters, for sure, by all means. But another year, just to polish everything, so that they have an even more finished product when he gets to the league, man, can't do no harm. Come back and, be all ACC. Come back, and he's already going to be first team all ACC freshman and all that shit. Like,
Yeah,
he's on
he'll
there
probably
already.
be freshman of the year. He'll probably be freshman of the year. I mean, I got to look. But the group they have, Joe, they got a great group together. Young freshmen, they come back
They
next
got
year.
a great group.
Bell.
Bro, but
Taylor?
think about that shit, like Malik there, Taylor. You know what I'm saying? That's a great core that you could build off of for the future. You know what I mean? And that'll take a lot of pressure off the staff. Like, oh, fuck it. Yo, shit. Our recruitment this year don't got to be crazy because we already know we got a great 6 coming back.
Got to get another big.
Coming back.
Got to get another big. I know Peter Carey. You got Hema. You got to get another big who could give you a little bit offensively, maybe. You know what I mean? Not having to throw. Not talking about a guy back to the basket. Give me a guy who's like Jesse. You know what I mean? Who could affect the game like that. I love a center like that. I love a long, athletic guy who could block shots, and he's turning those block shots and going down the other way in the transition. Because bro, Jesse's like he's capable of throwing it. When you give it to him, showed that he can make it a little bit, but it's not like what he really wants to do for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like he's capable. He's got better at it. Not his forte though. Like, he's a rim runner off the drop, off the offensive rebound.
Jesse got great hands too. Jesse got he got great hands for a big.
He's got better with his
he
hands.
excels in being in the right place at the right time. Fucking Joe driving the lane, little shovel pass. He keeps it right here, high dunk. You know what I'm saying? Jesse, he's 7 feet, bro. You can't teach that. So as long as you catch the ball and you're able to run the way he does, block shots, affect the game, you'll be straight.
He's
if you
NBA
rebound the shit out the ball, block shots, bro. Oh yeah, no doubt. He is.
Maybe second round.
Shit, he in there, regardless of what round.
I mean,
there. Might have to do a little G League. Maybe he might have to develop a little whatever they might want him to do, but he'll be there. He'll be there.
He'll be there. So, Joe, before we hop off, next game coming up Saturday on the road at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, their record isn't great, but they just a few days ago beat Duke at home on the same floor that we're about to go to. Yep. So, what are your keys to victory Saturday evening versus Virginia Tech?
For one, just coming off of this game, taking care of the basketball.
No doubt.
And that's going to be the key. That's going to be, for me, the key is taking care of the basketball. Because other than that, bro, we're like I said, we're gelling right now. I think we're really clicking on all cylinders. We're getting to the basket. We're finding shooters. Our defense is clicking. We're moving. The forwards that we need to be effective are now being effective on both sides of the ball. So for me, the key is really just take care of the ball, and it doesn't mean you have to have a fucking, 5 turnover game. Whatever turnovers are going to happen. If every one of your players get a turnover, that's 12 turnovers for the game, but it's 1 each. You feel me? So it's like the total number is not always the problem, but it's the points off the turnovers as well. We don't want to have to. We don't want to give up 21 points off of 17 turnovers. So just taking care of the ball, getting quality shots, continue to get quality shots, continue to rally. With your seniors and your young dogs, we should be straight. Again, Virginia Tech is on a high, right? They're on a high.
Beating Duke,
we gotta go over there and get some roadkill.
That's it, bro. You said it. Take care of the ball. Let's get better shots, because it's hard to win games when you got to make every shot you make is tough. You got to get some transition looks. You got to get out, get some run of execution, get off the screen, whatever it is. You got to get some clean looks to make it easy on you, throughout the game. You said it, Joe. No TOs, quality shots. We're back here next week. Another episode of the Devo and Kris Joe. Let's get it!
Yeah!